Okay, this is going to be the second lesson in direct and inverse variation. We sort of did a lesson already on this on the SOL with practicing it. We're going to get into a little bit more depth. Okay, what we talked about last time is if you take x times y, and you multiply it, you get the same number every time. That's inverse variation. If that doesn't work, you can do y divided by x, and if that gives you the same number, it's direct variation. If that doesn't work, it's neither, okay? Which we'll get into in the next lesson, all right? So what I would do is 3 times 24, 6 times 12, 8 times 9. They're all 72, so that means this is inverse variation for this case. Okay, that number of 72 is the, they call that the constant of proportionality. The equation we talked about would just be xy equals 72, all right? Now it says find x when y is 30, okay? So all you gotta do for that is just put 30 in for there and solve for the other variable. And what you do there is just divide by 30, okay? So 72 divided by 30 is 2.4, all right? And that's the answer. This other one says find y when x is 4. So I just put 4 in that spot, and I divide by 4. So y equals 72 divided by 4, which is 18. Okay, so that's pretty easy stuff there. Okay, all right. We're gonna do a couple of these just to practice. Okay, so I got 2, 8. All right, I got a bunch of these. Now, if I do 2 times 8, 16, 3 times 12, definitely not. So it can't be inverse. Now I want to do y divided by x. Okay, 8 divided by 2. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 40 divided by 10 is 4. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Everything's divided. So make sure this is direct variation. Make sure you're dividing y by x. So that constant of 4 is that. So I go out y equals 4x. Now it says find y when x is 16. Now all I got to do is put 16 in for there. Now when they're both on the same side like that, you can just do 4 times 16. Okay? So y is 64. So when they're the same side, just multiply. Okay? Find x when y equals 200. So I put 200 in for y. Very simply, I would just divide by 4. X would be 200 divided by 4, which is 50. Okay, so all you gotta do is just read the thing and just substitute into the equation. Okay? Let's do another one. All right, I got this. All right, so let's check this out. Let's try the inverse is always easiest. 4 times, that's 40. I don't know about this one. Nope, doesn't work. So let's try y divided by x. That's the big thing with direct variation. 10 divided by 4, 2.5. 22.5 divided by 9, 2.5. 15 divided by 6, 2.5. So I got direct variation here. This is going to be 2.5. Y equals 2.5 x for the equation. Okay. Find x when y equals 90. So I just put 90 in here, and then divide by 2.5 because that's the unknown. Okay. Let's see what 90 divided by 2.5 is. It is 36. Okay, find y when x is 8. Okay, so y equals 2.5 times 8. Now this is the scenario where they're on the same side. Okay, 2.5 times 8 is 20. Okay, let's do another one. All right, let's take a look at this one. All right. 2 times 50, 100. 4 times 25, 100. 10 times 10, 100. Okay, so this is inverse variation, but that's going to be the constant of proportionality is 100. xy equals 100. Okay, it says find y when x is 300. So 300, y equals 100. I would divide by 300 here. Okay, so y equals 100 divided by 300 is a third. Okay, that's simple. Find x when y is 5. So use that equation. Find x when y is 5. So 5 and 100, I would just divide by 5. Okay, 100 So what I'd like you to do, I think I give you 3 of these, so pause your video, go ahead and work on these 3, okay? All right, easiest to check is inverse. If I multiply all of those, what do they all equal? They all equal 80. So the constant would be 80. My equation would be xy equals 80, okay? Find x when y is 30. So x, y is 30. Just divide by 30. X equals, I think that's going to be 8/3. Yep, 8/3. Okay? Find y when x is 12. Divide by 12. Divide by 12. 80 divided by 12 is 20/3. Okay? Let's try another one. All right, let's see this one. See if what we get here. 4 times 60, 5 times 75. Now, neither of those are good. Okay, so let's try y divided by x. So 15, 15, and 30 divided by 2, 15. So this is direct variation. Proportionality is 15, so it's y equals 15x. It says find x when y is 120, so 120 equals 15x, and just divide by 15. Okay, 120 divided by 15 is 8. Okay, find x when y is 9. All right, or find y when x is 9, sorry. All right, so y equals 15 times 9, since they're on the same side there, I can just do 15 times 9. So y is 135. Okay, and one more here for you guys to do. Okay, let's try this one. All right, so easy way to check. We're just going to multiply. That's 90. It's 90. That's 90. Okay, so this is inverse variation. The proportionality constant is 90. xy equals 90. Find y when x equals 10. Okay, so just divide by 10. That's going to be y is 9. Okay, find x when y is 60. All right, divide by 60. All right, really simple math here on this stuff. All right, it's 1.5. If you want to write 3/2, that is fine as well. Okay, now, the next thing, we'll do 3 examples here. Okay, we're going to talk about word problems with this, all right, with direct variation. Now, what we sort of just laid out is how you want to figure this out. All right, what you want to figure out first is whether it's direct variation or inverse. Now, what you're fortunate with here is they're going to tell you, okay? Now, what you want to do is find the constant. You want to make your equation, okay? And then you want to substitute the last set of numbers and solve for the unknown. Okay? Now, let me explain that. Okay? Unknown. All right. Now, as you can see, it says varies directly. All right? Now, what that means is, okay, that I automatically am going to have an equation, okay, with the variables on opposite sides. Okay? Now, it's easy to figure out based off of the direct variation, the constant. Okay? Now, this is what's important. Whatever is first is considered y. So my paycheck is going to be y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write y, and I'm going to write pay over it, paycheck. The other side, because it's direct variation, will be x. Okay? And x is hours worked. Okay? So it's always y, then x. Y, then x. Okay? Especially with direct variation. That's the only one that's tricky. The other one's really not that bad. Okay? Now, that's going to be hours. So remember, when we're figuring out the constant for direct variation, it's always y divided by x, right? So it says James works 20 hours and makes $190, okay? So that would be 190 divided by 20, okay? Now, why was that? Because it was direct variation. So what my constant proportion part is 9.5. All right, that's the constant, that's the equation. Okay, that's how I would always make the equation. All right, if you just want to write y then x, that's fine. Okay, now I got my equation. Let's read the last line. It says how many hours would need to be worked to make $684? So which one of those things did they give you? Well, they gave you the paycheck amount. Well, this is the only unknown. How would I solve for that? Just divide by 9.5. Okay, so the hours worked, all right, 684 divided by 9.5 is 72. Okay, all right, so maybe you want to find the constant proportionality first, okay, and that helps you come up with the equation. Maybe not write that out like I did. Maybe it's a little bit easier, okay? So let's do another one together, all right? It says an airplane speed varies inversely. Okay, it varies inversely. So speed is y. So I'm going to write that down. Speed is y. Okay, as time. So time would be x. Okay, so time is x. Now, since they have told me that it is inverse variation, this first amount of 200 miles an hour times 2.5, okay? And go ahead and just figure that out right off the bat. Because remember, inverse variation is the multiplier. So that's going to be, the constant is going to be 500. So my equation is xy equals 500. All right? Now it says that they want to make the trip in 0.5 hours. How fast will they need to travel? Well, the time is x, so I'm going to put that in as 0.5. And I don't know why. All right, and then I divide by 0.5. 500 divided by 0.5. They'd have to travel 1,000 miles an hour. And that's probably not going to make it in time. All right, not possible. All right, so laying out your x and y and how the relationship is going to be is going to matter. Okay? All right? It says the cost to tile a floor varies directly with the cost per square foot. Okay? The cost to tile is cost per square foot. All right? All right, so that's going to be the cost to tile will be y. Okay? The cost per square foot okay, will be x, okay? Now, since it says varies directly, I would do y divided by x to help me come up with that, okay? So it says the cost is 110 when the cost of the tile is $2.75. So what I would do is 110 divided by 2.75, okay? 110 divided by 2.75. All right, so that is going to be 40, all right, for my constant. So I'd have y equals 40x, okay? How much will it cost if the tile is $6 per square foot? So what they're giving me is the x. So 40 times 6. So 40 times 6 is 240. Okay? All right? That's simple. All right? That's simple. All right? It says, I think that last two you're going to try on your own. 1, 2. I think, wait, hold on. We did this one. That's 1, 2, 3. All right. So now you're going to try these next three on your own. Okay? All right. So gas prices. All right. So that's going to be my y. Varies inversely to the amount of available barrels. That's going to be x. Okay, so I got y for prices, x for barrels. Okay, since they tell me it's inverse, I'm going to do x times y to help me figure this out. Okay, so I got 100 barrels times 2.50. That's the first thing. 100 times 2.5. Okay. So what I would have is xy equals 250. Okay? Now it says, what is the cost when there is 60 barrels of oil? So what they've given me here is they've given me the y amount. So I divide by 60. 250 divided by 60 is 4.16. That would be the cost, about $4.16. Okay? All right, let's go on. All right, it says the amount of lunch varies directly with the number of sandwiches. So we got lunch cost will be y, sandwiches will be x, varies directly. Okay, so I got y. I'm just going to write this stuff down as the cost. X would be the sandwiches. They told me it's direct variation, so I got to do y divided by x to help me come up with that. So the lunch cost is 84, and the amount of sandwiches is 12. So 84 divided by 12 is 7. Okay, so my equation is y equals 7x. Okay, now it says how much does lunch cost when they give me 30 sandwiches? Well, what is the 30 going to be? It is going to be for x. So 7 times 30 is 210. Okay, like I said, sometimes writing that down makes it easier. Just write that stuff out. Sort of will lay out your whole problem for you. Okay, space in a storage unit varies inversely with the number of items purchased. So space will be y, items will be x, and it varies inversely. So I'm going to write that down. Space is y, items is x. Okay, so I know that x times y, since it's inverse variation. Okay, so what did they tell me? They said their space is 200 feet. The amount of items is 5, so I multiply those. 5 times 200 is 1,000. Okay, so my equation is x times y equals 1,000. Then they said how many feet of space when there's 24 items? 24 items would be x. So 24 times y equals 1,000. I'm going to divide by 24. 1,000 divided by 24 is 41.6 repeating. Okay, so that is some good practice there with direct and inverse variation. The big thing with those word problems is writing out what the letters are and understanding what the base formula's got to look like. All you got to do is find the constant proportionality and put that formula together, and you should be fine.